10 more. Fully in, let it go. Nice, deep, circular breaths. 5 more. Let's give it all we got. Last one. Fully in. And on the exhale, stop. 1.5 minute breath hold from now on. Become aware of the blood running through your veins, your heart beating. Feel. Seconds left. You are almost there. Do you want to prolong your breath hold? Pause the video now and continue when you feel the urge to breathe.
Oh shit, I always do that. You literally leave your body, so I meant to resume the recording and I didn't intend to put my phone down. It just shows you that you completely leave everything, your body, any idea of what's going on. Yeah, it's very peaceful. I'm probably going to do another round, to be fair. One thing about doing the live stream, actually, is the EMF radiation maybe is not what. But I did literally just do 3 rounds, but it's only just kicking in, so I'm going to do another 3, I reckon. As best I can. So I done some breath work in morning after smoking a bong. Yeah, that will heal you from your past as well, with the alcohol and that. Breath work healing, definitely. But yeah, I haven't smoked any weed today, but the Wim Hof method is always a lot better if I'm smoking weed. I've only just fell in love with the Wim Hof method. I'd done it before a lot as well, but recently I've really I desire the Wim Hof method or breath work in general. Before it was like I had to put in the labor. And I didn't really want to, but these days it's finally, I desire it a lot. I was working on a lot of stuff, and then something just told me to come to nature, and I've been walking around here for the best part of 3 days, actually, I can't lie. Barefoot, connecting with the grass, breathing, meditating, being mindful, doing stretches. I think that'll do for now, actually. But yeah, it's so what I was the reason I said that is because obviously I do a lot of psychedelics normally, but I've only done the breath work on psychedelics somewhat rarely. If you do the breath work while peaking on shrooms, it's literally impossible. What you experience. Go on. But yeah, Ryan, do some breath work. What do you do? Do you do the breath work? I know you do. Well, I know obviously you talk about the same shit and that, but like you're not really into the psychedelics and that too much. But you should do the Wim Hof. Get to winning. Expose evil. Get to winning. It's time to send them home. It's time to send them back. Is it packing? When they leave this earth realm, can't let them back in. You shaved your head, that cleans you from old energy. That's good, man. Yeah, that's normally like, whenever I shave my head, I feel like I'm in a new era. I used to actually dye my hair. I took the from XXXTentacion, like, you know, he dyed his hair blue when he like was having his spiritual awakening, and then I kind of took inspiration from that. Hey, Mr.Nature, I was just out here doing some breath work. Feel free, Ryan or Mr.Nature, to join the live, or Love from the Galaxy, sorry. But yeah, I'm probably gonna walk to the crib. What up, bro? What up, man? Just doing breath work, getting that healing energy. Screenshotting your Snapchat story the other day. Everyone check out my fucking podcast with Mr.Nature and his missus, Miss Sunshine. We'll do another one eventually, I reckon, because I know I've grown drastically since then. I'm not who I was. It's been like literally, that will get on a year before we know it. I could 40-minute show. Yeah. Hop on the live if you want. Love from the Galaxy. I think there's like a request thing somewhere. I get funny stares from people working in the morning when I walk inside and got on any shoes. Breeze, hello, sorry I am playing with the way that things are moving. What you doing sound like hell on earth to choose. Sees, why you look at me when you're the one to make decision with your time and then you're asking me whose. Knees are pressed up on the floor, nigga, you're owning nothing more and it don't matter that I'm standing at the core. We contain infinite knowledge, my brain aching for college, the fame and what I wanted, ashamed to want acknowledgement. I don't care what you think of me. Stare up at night and I can't remember. And I struggle to find any meaning inside my mind, but the psilocybin provided the first I could surmise. Let it be what is. What? Let it be what it is. Breath, the bliss. Breath. That's what I used to come out to have a joint and go, I'll come to the pond and have a joint. But now I go, I'll come to the pond and breathe. Hello,
What?
how's it going, bro?
Total beauty of nature. You can show how we look a bit with this kind of gear. Not the best, but very clean. Very clean now.
Shaved your head. That's good, man. It feels good to do that. It's just the crib.
Originally, this is my godmother's room, but now she's gone, so very good to smoke here, but best energy.
I'd like to. I want to meet you one day.
Who knows? Maybe I will travel a bit the world after a year or something.
It's interesting. Where do you live again?
In Lithuania, near Belarus, the border of Belarus, Poland and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fair enough. Oh, yeah. To be fair, now that you say that, I recognize your accent a bit more.
It's very Baltic Sea.
Huh?
Yeah, but I don't know. Now we can do. This is the Amanita muscaria one.
Come on. I remember you took Amanita muscaria a few times, haven't you?
Yes, in a very big amounts. 30 grams, 25. I always puke, but that stuff gets visual and it's one of the most powerful things in the world.
Yeah, that one is you're meant to boil it or some shit. It's dangerous apparently. It makes you give you nausea in your stomach.
I can also show what kind of hair I used to have. How it looks like a sheep, you see? for winter it was really good. This was how I need to burn this, imagine.
Oh yeah. Oh,
This was so itchy in the summer that I couldn't take this anymore, black night.
yeah. Wait, was it? Did you put the picture of the Amanita muscaria? Is that your grandma?
This is my painting that I done, I don't know. I didn't
really?
wrote.
Oh, fair
Yes, I
enough.
would paint it.
Oh, that's quite
Me
cool,
too.
actually.
And I would play this clarinet and stuff, nahue at times. And what?
You're very. I reckon you'd be a very interesting person to spend a day with. I reckon, especially around your house, because
Before I
from where
go to a forest, I want to show there is a painting that I done when I was 14 years old. The first time I tripped on some substance. This was the painting. I was very euphoric, and I wrote. It's hard to see here, but it's basically time in Matrix 2020, and it's basically written the meaning of life is love. Create love, not war. What?
it is love. That is true. What?
Okay. Going to collect blueberries. One of the best fruits.
Oh yeah.
Very good for the brain.
Who do you live with? Is it just you?
Oh no, it's not just me, but it's a shit of my father, but he works all the time, and I usually avoid him and my grandmother.
Oh yeah. Fair enough.
But when I drink or something, I disappear like a bluebird in the sky somewhere in the forest, and she doesn't like it. No, but that happens. But I don't drink anymore. But now I smoke cannabis a lot, so I also disappear in the forest to meditate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hold on. So, how did you like? Are you confident that you're not gonna drink like? Well, not to say that you won't have a drink, but I mean, like, wasn't it very difficult to stop drinking?
It is, but it happened that I was in illusions and stuff, and I didn't understand what I was doing. But after I smoked some holy herb, I got this kind of a few weeks ago, or a week ago, this psychosis experience where I really felt bad about everything and scared about my health.
Yeah.
Yes, and it just inspired me to shave my hair in the end and to cleanse my body.
Hey, that sounds really good, man. I'm very happy to hear that. And that you've gone for a while. I guess don't fucking just realize it's not worth it, is it? So I mean, it seems like you're right now. Your story has took a turn for the better. So hopefully, just keep it on that track. You know, it seems like the holy herb has enlightened you.
Yes, absolutely. It's the healing of a nation, and alcohol is different. Alcohol is the dumbing down. It totally dumbs down things.
Yeah. It's lowers your like senses and that like it. But there's like the plants, they can be used in like a holistic healing sacred way, but the alcohol is just like toxic poison that burns you.
There is
you were drinking
to make tinctures, but it's very little amount of alcohol actually. Herbal extracts, and you like take a teaspoon or something, but it's not to get drunk. So alcohol has a use, but like if you drink a lot of it, it's just killing the body and the mind and everything.
Yeah. I think it's obvious like that some of that stuff like that a lot of people drink, you know, it's literally like it tastes so like it almost, it's like it's burning. You can set it on fire and it fucking like if you poured like loads of that on your skin like raw vodka, that'd kill you. So I don't know why everyone's drinking it so much.
For me, the drinking was, I remember I was 13 years old and I was like thinking of drinking beer, and I was like, well, I am drinking not because of depression or to be cool, but just because I'm happy. I was into spirituality at that time too. But over time, alcohol got out of control basically, and it's nothing good. Well, it was my own, I guess, it was meant to be this kind of spiritual, how can I say, experience with alcoholism. It definitely opened up my eyes in some ways. I became stronger. Well,
I I know that Alan Watts, like I think he died of like alcohol, and he was very spiritual. But I mean, I remember I resonated with what you were saying in the group chat about because like you say, it just starts off innocently, and before you know it, you're like in this routine of this kind of trap where like you keep on drinking and it doesn't like you eventually get to a point where you realize that it wasn't what it started out to be, and it like. And then, you know, it starts off as something innocent, and then over time it's like, uh-oh, maybe I've gone too far.
Yes, that's what happens. For me, I would say every single day almost I would drink. I would say, this is my last time. But unfortunately, I would say 1 more month maybe, and then that's it. The last year, although that's it.
I done that, yeah, with weed for about 2 fucking years. Every day I'll go, this is the final joint, the final one, and then the next day I'll go, oh, just 1 more, it'll be too good, 1 more. And then I'll quit tomorrow. But I thought about this a lot, it's just the trap of setting dates. Like, if you're going to do anything, do it now. Don't say you'll do it later, because it won't happen.
Yeah, no, for me, the cannabis smoking is not an issue, it's more of a healing. It's sometimes I have a lot of it. I can smoke 10 times a day. At times I don't have any for 3 weeks, and the point is just being happy with what you have. And I smoke it and realize that the effects of cannabis depends on how detoxified your body. So, like, more clean you are, it's going to affect you better. You know, in that sense.
Well, how do you be? I know that, like, I don't think weed's a problem. Like, it depends what you have, the quality. Tomorrow never comes, Mr.Nature said. It's true, but it's like weed. Like, obviously, it can be like a healing medicine. People know this. It's not the same as alcohol, but so like but it's only like you say, it's a money thing. It's if we had like infinite money or infinite weed, then it wouldn't be a problem. But that's the only reason why I really want to quit. But really what I meant to say is I'll stop spending money on it. If I had the choice, I'd have it all the time, obviously.
Well, this is my hookah, of course, an ancient way of this. Now with cannabis and the whole thing, it actually, you can have an unlimited amount of it for free if you just, an example, you can plant a whole field of cannabis somewhere, and if it would grow, if it's the right strain, then you would have tons of it for free. Unfortunately, the Babylon hates this plant, and there is a chance 3 pigs will come and will end it.
Stupid, isn't it? Babylon hates it.
Yeah. I actually, no, but I don't want to talk about it on social media for reasons, but I have experiences with plants, with them, how they grow and stuff. It's awesome. The worst thing with cannabis is not the cannabis itself, but an example, the atmosphere where you smoke it, like how people get paranoid, an example. It's not the cannabis fault, it's that a person is in a bad environment where this plant is being basically demonetized and stuff, and then you can get weird experiences. What do you mean? Do you mean it's like you take it weirdly or you grow it weirdly? No, like example, when smoking, when I was in play, like now, if I smoke in a forest, I laugh and I have fun, but at times I remember when I would smoke in the city, or in my mom's apartment one time, when she was gone at night, I got so paranoid and stuff because the neighbors will smell it and someone will call the police and stuff. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's just Babylon. It's just literally like, it just depends. Like, yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, it's just the environment. Like, I don't think, in general, like, Babylon causes anxiety a lot more than where we're supposed to be. I don't know why we walked out of nature. It's quite strange, because when I go there, it's clearly where we're meant to be. I think it's because God wanted to experience more and decided to create this simulation, this role play,
Yeah.
How
I know
to
what you
say
mean.
it.
Like Babylon does look cool, and it's all part of the story. You know what I mean? Because eventually I will leave Babylon, and me and you will probably meet up somewhere as fucking in a mass awakening or some shit.
Who knows what's going to happen after like 20 years? So like, if, as the Bible say, there will be a mark of a beast, and without it you won't be able to buy or sell or something, and the only way will be to go and live somewhere in a commune. When I have my grandmother taught me how to grow like plants and stuff. So I will probably need to create a commune somewhere in Europe
Yeah,
or
literally.
somewhere. Lithuania is actually a very good place too, but it's far away. But it's less Babylon here. Like when I was in different countries, I guess we have a bit more of a government watches over the land more, basically, in more Western places.
Yeah. Well, someone asked they asked me what my definition of Babylon is, and I think it's I don't know. I think there could be many definitions. It's just like overly complex, concrete, fucking like government, media, it's radiation. There's like radiation pollution. It's just the Western culture. It's like New York City. That is central Babylon. But
Yeah.
what would you say is Babylon?
For me, Babylon is overall the energy, the energy of it's in the mind. It's how people are full of lies and the dump energy and just. I had this dream about Babylon where you basically need to hide, where everyone lives in fear in a way and pretend we're happy. And of course, there's the whole unhealthy food and the whole society and the fake politics and being far away from nature and stuff.
Yeah, it's just literally like it's like a grid, as like central, like it's mainly about like it's about greed, a lot of it. But yeah, it is a lot of it is fear, and the people are like not like it's just fear based living and disconnecting. No one understands the value. There's no intuition of nature. It's literally like a whole different race of humans.
So there is this very funny looking mushroom. But this is
great.
But the acts right here were actually very anti-cancer, and this all the hippie teach me about them. And this mushroom, it grows 10 minutes, and it grows like that. So this mushroom right here holds inside insane amounts of energy and power. And this is old books, very old. There is Amanita citrina. Better not eat this.
I might have to go because I think my fucking. I'm gonna have to go. I think because my dog can hear me. But yo, it's cool talking to you. I don't know if you're just better because all I'd seen of you in the past is like What the fuck? Oh, 1 second. 1 second. Hold on. Maybe I don't have to go. Yeah, it should be fine. 1 second. Yo. I'm coming, Luna. I'm coming. It's Luna.
Very beautiful dog.
Hi. Here's a dog from Babylon. It's because they just genetically modified her face so she's all squished up. So she looks cute, apparently, Babylon says. Yeah. Yes. But yeah, no, what I was going to say, I don't really have to go anymore, I guess. But what I was going to say is, yeah, because all I'd seen of you, like, really is in the group chat, just like being drunk and things. But I can tell, I can actually talk to you, like, quite good. And so I kind of wish I'd called you before, because I feel like maybe I didn't know you as well as I could have. Now I'm actually talking to you, and that I'd definitely like to meet you one day.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be 18 after a year, so I guess I can travel somewhere. But
we'll have to go to we'll all meet up like this. We'll have to try and get loads of us like to some fucking festival or something, you know what I mean? So we can meet loads of people in the group.
Very beautiful ancient monuments and stuff.
Where?
In West Wales. I don't remember how it's called, but there is this ancient monument that's one of the oldest, and I don't know, not remember, but it's different stones in a circle.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's like weird fucking like UFO shit from years ago. Like,
And in the 70s, we had festivals in there. Hippies done festivals until in the 80s the government banned it. So imagine how fun was that. Like rainbow gatherings.
yeah. That's what I've heard a lot of those rainbow gatherings. Actually, yeah, I'd love to go to one of them. But yeah, I'm in connection with loads of YouTubers and shit as well who go to them. So who knows? Like, but yeah, oi, we should well, somewhat likely, yeah. I imagine you'll probably be alright with it. But like, I'll upload like this fucking video. Like, it won't go anywhere. And then and then we'll do like more podcasts in the future as well.
That's alright, totally fine. I'm very happy for that.
I can tell, like, you're not. I don't think you're one to kind of I don't know. You're very like out there. I think like me. I think because like you're like push boundaries. The shit that you send to the group chat and that half the time. I know half the time you're just like super drunk, but.
See, with alcohol, what I enjoyed is there is a part of it that literally destroys all the boundaries, but it also destroys the brain too, so it's a neurotoxin in the end, and I realized there is no, it's only degeneration, there is nothing there left, so I don't want that path anymore, so that's why I stopped.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, I have cannabis and I can smoke that, and it's a lot better.
Yeah, well, it's a lot more... like plants and like healthy things like that are a lot more like holistic and big picture, but these like other things like alcohol and like stimulants, they're harder to kind of get a grasp on. But all drugs kind of like they all dissolve boundaries and limits, but I think the plants do it in a lot more like holistic, big picture way that's more useful. I don't know if Mr.Nature. All right, yo, I'm gonna try and go live with Mr.Nature. It might kick you out, but I'll do another one with you another time if that's all right.
Okay, so I will go now for like a hour, maybe in a forest. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'll talk to Mr.Nature and then I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, it was good talking to you, man. I'm glad I spoke to you finally, like properly, and we'll have some chats in the future and do some podcasts and that. All right.
Okay. All
right, love, bro. Come on, Mr. Nature, bro. It's been ages. Come on, Mr. Nature. Mr. Nature. He's still joining. I did press him.
What's up?
Yo, Mr. Nature. Or, what the fuck was your name? I can't even remember. Hold on.
My name is Rob.
Ah, you cunt. I was going to come to me. Yeah, how are you?
I'm amazing. I'm at work, but I might have to leave randomly, but it's pretty dead fine today, so it's mostly chilling.
Fair play. Yeah, it's because you're saving, aren't you, to travel?
Yeah. Working season with AC service, like air conditioned service.
What are you doing, like, at the minute, like, with them? I mean,
like literally cool. Right now, nothing. It's these machines, and you refill people's gases in their air condition in their cars when it's too hot and they run out of gas.
Oh, interesting.
The machines do everything. Like you literally press like 500 grams and you press enter and you wait 40 minutes.
Oh, fair enough. That's pretty easy then.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So you just like on your phone and shit in the meantime, just basically getting paid for listening to podcasts and shit.
And working out and meditation, breathing, whatever floats the boat. I do like spine rehab too, because I have a bit of a fucked spine. I go to a cracked person. I have this rehab ball. So I'm basically just making the best out of the time while getting paid.
Yeah, and that's what I do. Whenever I get a job, I try to kill two birds with one stone. I put podcasts on some shit. These days, like, before I was it was only 2 weeks ago something. I was waiting in a car for about an hour, and I was just waiting, like, and then now I've like fallen in love with breathwork. I'm like, why was I not doing like anything? I was just waiting. Oh, come on, just tick, like watching the clock. But it's like you could just be breathing, and it's like it's all like breathing has got the same kind of euphoria as in a sense, as smoking a joint. It can, like, it's like relaxing.
All relaxation comes from the 0 point. And the 0 point doesn't matter if you reach it with psychedelics or with breathwork or whatever. It comes from letting the ripples of the projection of reality settle. And then you're relaxed and you're not attached to duality.
Well, I mean, I like, because the 0 point, I've heard Illuminati Congo refer to it a lot. I listened to his Time Killers album a good like 5 times, by the way, so I've got into his shit a bit. But other than that, and his newest album that you sent me as well. But what is the 0 point? Is it like literally
it's the same thing like everybody talks about. In Hinduism, they call it the self. In Buddhism, they call it nothing, no self. It's the Tao. It's the thing you can't put your words on. Like.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Because recently, it's like I had quite a bit of fear recently, and I'm like, the conclusion I've reached is like, well, in Traumatic's latest song, he just says, "What's meant to be is meant to be," and it's almost like at the end of the day, all you're gonna have to do is like be present with the sense perceptions that come. Yeah. It's almost as if you don't have any control, and then that's all you have to deal with. You just have to like let it come. Not that you can't do anything about it, but it's like the 0 point is just like shutting the fuck up and just being now.
It's literally no you. That's why if you try to interpret it or speak about it as there's a second thing, it's just the 0 point. And when you get closer and closer, it gets harder and harder to explain. So even when you're having psychedelic trips and you get to see the void, whatever, and you're on your way into it, if you try to perceive it or think about it as it's happening, it's just going to start glitching and looking weird and going to give you a small like mind psychosis of chasing your own tail, like woo, 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 and like loop and say the same thing over and over again. Like,
yeah.
But if you just reset, and that's like you said, the breath work is the original psychedelic. If you sit for 30 minutes and you go, and you just relax, then you're in the 0 point. You are the 0 point. And it's even, you can even like, pranayama is to create your breath, like you're doing breath work. But you can do vipassana, which means to watch. And just your attention without doing anything, without a zero doing, if you just watch your breath, you're changing your rhythm of breathing. So your attention creates without a doing.
Yeah, that's
so
the weird thing. Because, well, I mean, Alan Watts said that the other day I was listening to a lecture, he was like, you can breathe like ever more deeply without even putting any effort, just with attention. But then, like, you know, when someone says to you, like, in the past, before awakening, this didn't mean anything to me, but I reflected on it recently. Has anyone ever said to you, like, you are now breathing manually? And then you're like, oh yeah, you're right. And then like when you forget, it goes away. But it's almost like when that happens, your breath like deepens.
And that's the 0 point. And it doesn't matter if you take psychedelics and you come to the 0 point and you're like, oh, oneness, or if you do pranayama for 45 minutes and you trigger a DMT release, or if you literally just watch your breath until your identification with everything impermanent, because everybody's mind identification concept is based on impermanence. It's based on thoughts that come and go. And we are the thing observing all coming and going. We are the unchanging, eternal, infinite energy. Everything else is a dance of light. Your thoughts, they come and go. Feelings, they come and go. And there's so many ways to return to that state, because it's not even a returning. It's actually the happening every moment. It's like, it's not a different thing. There's just layers making you think it's not.
It's so weird, isn't it? Like, just the whole thing. And that's what I realized, like, because I went through all this mental, like, health journey, for fucking, and I'm still in it now, even the other day. But when I was peaking on, like, 7 grams, I went, all of that was just for nothing. Like, not even just the mental health, just, like, any trials and tribulations in life. It's like, it's kind of just an illusion because you're just confused in your mind. Like you said, you just lose the confusion, and you do that by just being more and more aware. And then you realize that, like, you're not like who you thought you were, and what, like, it's so weird how there's so many, like, low states of consciousness that you can get entangled into. But then there's, like, this one, like, holistic bigger picture, which would be the 0 point, that puts the rest of it into like observation and perspective.
Yeah, it's the source of all those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still really want to spend a lot of time with you, because I know that you're the shit that you send, and I don't even read half of it because I'm just like a fucking dopamine addict, I guess. And I'm like, oh, fuck it. I mean, where's the? Because they're just like, I don't know where they're not fucking. You don't see them very much. Like the stuff that you send is, I don't know where you get them from, but I know that the stuff that you're on about is like at the core of a lot of like everything. And I know that you know what you're on about because you've been on it for a long while, and I'm making progress.
Yeah,
a lot, but it's I don't know, it's interesting.
yeah, but you for sure seem more relaxed about it now than a little while back.
Yeah, a while ago I don't even know, man. Like I was on edge quite a lot, and I am sometimes, but only when I get like confused. But a lot of it was just the personal development messages, like it's literally based on fear.
I would turn off Leo Ogura.
Yeah, probably. I know that. Yeah, I was thinking that because yesterday I was reflecting on him. Yeah, I know he does know what he's on about somewhat. But he said in this video, he said, "Live your life every day as if you're in the middle of a burning crisis." And then I'm wondering why I'm fucking depressed when I'm listening to shit like that.
Yeah, exactly. You're eating his information, you're eating his reality and perspective. But the most funny thing is that made me stop like actually taking advice from him in the beginning of my journey was when he smoked 5-MeO DMT, and he said after, like, that is not enlightenment, I am not enlightened, don't take my word for it, this, like, I'm just on the way to enlightenment. And it's like, bro, you completely missed the point. Everything is enlightened. The natural state is enlightenment. Life is enlightenment. That's what Jesus said. I am the light of the world. You have to come through me to come to the Father. And everybody is him. He is the light of the world. And you have to come through Jesus, your awareness, to come to the source of creation. And it's not an achievement. It's a recognition of what is, not more or less.
Yeah, like, I mean, I don't. That's what I mean, but that's coming from like the perspective of like, because obviously enlightenment is a duality, and that's why people who say they're seeking enlightenment, they kind of miss the point because it's already here somewhat. But I mean, like, because I know, like, he does say, but there are many different degrees and facets to like awakening and things, though. Like,
well, I mean, there's progress in duality.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
We're in the 0 point where all things stem from, where light stems from. There's just one light.
Well, I think that's what you're mainly, as far as I've become aware, is your whole shtick mainly. I think not like obviously you got, but like you focus on the 0 point and like the truth, the truth above all truths, which is obviously worth like devoting.
Yeah, but if you know that one and you don't separate, then this is the same. Every thought, every word, every feeling, all of physical reality is also the 0 point reflected in a light show. There's no separation whatsoever. Some people think like, oh, you got to go to formless consciousness and then you're in the 0 point and you're back to the source or the astral realms or whatever. This is the astral realms. You're in your light body right now. There's no separation whatsoever. You're only in an empty energy space that you vibrated down in a density that looks like this physical realm.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like, there's no, because there is really like, it's almost, it's just like, it's not even the idea. It's like a knowing that you are exactly like whole, although it can seem that you're not. It's like you're directly in contact with like the pure source, and like even if you die or whatever, this ego, like you can come back and you can't ever lose anything. Like ultimately, it's like because you are like the whole universe is contained Like, if you died, you couldn't go anywhere and shit like that. You're already at, like, the pure center, and whatever will happen in duality, like progression in duality, like, you almost kind of have it already. It just hasn't happened yet, in a way.
And if you really, really get it, you're the creator of this whole universe. So, like, if it hasn't happened yet, trust me, you can make it happen quite easily. Like,
What, the God realization sort of thing?
No, whatever. Even God realization,
Oh, I know.
anything is
I know
within
what you
your
mean,
reach.
No, I missed
Like,
your point.
literally
Yeah,
anything is possible, kind of.
yeah, no, I know. Yeah, I missed the point. Sorry. I thought you meant you can make the realization that you've created everything. But no, I know what you mean. It's like it's not wise, I don't think, to like just sit back and leave the like. Oh, there's nothing to do, so I'll just fucking. I won't. You know what I mean? Because that's one bit that I got stuck on for like a while. Yeah. Before I'm feeling really good now, but I got into this bit where I was like. Free will, and I thought, well, if I've already got everything, and I'm pretty sure there isn't really like there is. I just thought like free will don't matter because I've already got it in it. So I just stopped for like 2 fucking months, and then I realized, yeah, and then I had this trip, and the mushroom basically said to me, "But don't you want to?" It was like, "Oh, I don't like." It's like, fine, don't do anything then. But I was like, well, hold on, I've got like, this is why I'm here, is to do stuff. Like, there's nothing to do, but at the same time, there's stuff to do. That's why I'm here. Like, you do have free will in a sense, but there's different levels. There's like God has free will that created everything, and then there's like the small self's free will, I think.
And the free will in the small self is more like a conditioned will than an actual free will. It's like in the smaller self, you're like, oh, I'm gonna 1 week from now I'm gonna clean up my act, like you were saying earlier. Oh, 1 week from now I'm gonna change my diet, and then you're like 1 week from now, and you're like, oh, 1 week from now again, and then you don't actually have free will because you're saying something, you want something, and it's not fucking happening because you're in this illusion of time that there's a here and a over there, and over there it's gonna be better than here, and over there I'll have more motivation than right now, like. And then when that clicks, you just stop putting things to over there or later, and then you regain, like when you say you surrender what's meant to be is to bring you back to presence. It's not to remove the fun of the game or doings or actions or thoughts or any of those things. It's to remove suffering.
Yeah, it's to like, yeah, so it's like, I think the fundamental message, which is very liberating to like anyone listening or something, and what I've come to understand is basically all these pursuits in life, in the relative domain, etc. The only real pursuit that you need, or that you basically like complete like awakening, it basically lies. The name of the game lies in your level of awareness. So, like. You're out here trying to do so much in the world and beating yourself up about it, trying to personally develop. But then all you really have to do is sit down. You can think, but you just self-realization. And then when you get that, you're like, oh, well, I'm already here. And then everything else is just extra. So it's like, it's almost like the only real victory is understanding in a sense, but not like, it's not like you can't hate on it, because Leo Gura says the reality hinges off of understanding. Like, but awakening can be somewhat understanding, or do you just know it? Like,
it's like a mix of both. Both words can fit that, but it's more like when you return to the self, or whatever you want to call it, that is just constant knowing of itself.
Yeah.
And it's just the veil we've been playing with over. And going back to that is like, if you listen to some gurus or some self-realized masters, they will just go no mind. They will just tell you no doing, omnipresence, don't do anything, just like no mind, walk around in the presence of God and let it all happen, let it be, blah, 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 blah. But for me, the biggest realization is that you are the self. You are God, and you're here. You've created yourself into this form, and you have your mind as an instrument, and you have your feelings as an instrument, and you have your words as your instrument, and using these things while knowing who you are is the ultimate realization.
Yeah.
A master of the relative plane and a master of the non-dual plane.
Yeah, I get you.
Because otherwise we can just finish now and you can just die. And you can do nothing.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I know what you mean exactly. Like not to neglect the relative plane, but to kind of live. It's almost like you live on two levels. That's what Alan Watts says, or how Spectrum says, in it but not of it. The illusion of two is exactly how I want it. This is my appreciation for it all. So it's like you're in the relative plane, but you also understand that it's just like a game within the bigger whole.
It's one cosmic body. One
Yeah.
cosmic awareness, one cosmic consciousness.
It's weird, isn't it? Because like that's what really started to. Because like when you said like when we done our podcast and I was more like on edge than I am now, it's because after that like I loads of shit happened in my personal life, but then I oh, one sec. What happened is I just started listening to a lot of Alan Watts and Ram Dass and that, and I would follow him and I go, oh yeah, I know what you mean, yeah, and then like, and then I don't know, and then it's just like I just realised that like shit was just not what I thought it was, like nearly at all, and there's so many different levels. Like you think you're awake. But then you understand that there's actually like it goes way deeper, and a lot of these people think they're awake here because they don't like they don't like the government or they hate the vaccine and they think that that's awakening.
They're aware of the corruption in the world, and that's a type of awakening if you want to speak it like that. Yeah. But it's not the awakening.
That's what I mean. So like that's what I was on, like more relative planes, I think. But then I think the fundamental thing, what I was saying earlier about how the only real victory is self-realization, or I think another way to put it, I think, is the only real victory, if you can even call it that, is like becoming one and like knowing and somewhat understanding the 0 point, like you were saying. Like, is that not it really? Because when you realize the 0 point, you're kind of done.
Yeah, you can literally, after you realize the 0 point, you could let it all be if you wanted. You could just flow in total bliss without lifting a finger for the rest of your existence ever in nirvana. Just like candle blow out. But the greatest victory, in my opinion, that is in the yogic books, in the Yoga Sutras, like you ask where I get the stuff from, is because I read all the ancient Hindu books on path to self-realization, the Yoga Sutras, the Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, and old gurus that wrote their own books too. Yeah. And the biggest victory you can have in your whole life is the victory over your own mind.
Yeah,
so,
literally.
Total mind mastery. Then you're home.
Yeah, because like some days, like I'd go through this flux, and it even wasn't that long ago where it's just like often now I'm like it's almost like bipolar. Sometimes I'm like positive, sometimes I'm not, and some days it's like I know that inherent like suffering is coming my way, but then to actually like kind of get a one up on that whole thing and just but you can do it, and it's so strange how it's all to do with just how aware and how conscious you are. Like it's such a like it's just like when I started listening to I really want to get into them books and that. Like I was gonna say it's mad how like the Hindus and like all like this third world and that, like they've mapped out like the whole nature of reality thousands of years ago, and it's just in a book. Like you know what I mean? Like I swear they've
even
got like,
every medicine, every plant, everything, every leaf, everything.
Yeah, it's mad. And then we're here. Yeah, this is what I find it funny that our culture, like, I don't know. It's like we think that, like, I get science, obviously, is progress, and the best of both worlds can obviously, but it's like everyone thinks that, like, I don't know. We think that we're on the edge of discovery, like science is pushing the boundaries, but there's like the shamans who like have already been doing it before science does even like.
Yeah, that was their science. It was the science of consciousness.
Yeah, science used to be called natural philosophy, didn't it?
Yeah, It's basically just when we studied nature. And
Yeah.
studying nature reveals the truth of consciousness because the pattern is in everything.
But that's one thing that science doesn't really do anymore, though, because it's only external, because nature is internal, nature is everything, but science is just focused on like atoms. Like I've got this boss here, and he's like the pinnacle example of the way that he sent me a video of Brian Cox. You know Brian Cox, right?
Yeah, I recognize it. I know kind of it. It's some conspiracy thing about.
No, he's
No?
just like he's a scientist. But I made a video called like Brian Cox is wrong, and basically my boss sent me this video, and he's like, people who just want something more. I'm like, what do you mean? Our bodies have assembled from long dead stars, and our brains have caught in this pattern, and just so we can temporarily think, and then one day all of these structures will break, and there will never be anything again in the heat death of the universe. It's like, why do you want anything more than that? I'm like, I don't want anything more. There's just so many loopholes in your logic.
Yeah. For sure, and it's like no matter what, you can, as soon as you draw a conclusion that it's not based on a direct experience, it's based on a concept or anything, you're basically giving all the power to that concept and you're idolizing a concept, like, oh, here's the truth. But the truth is non-conceptual, it's non-dualistic, and to get to the truth, like most people don't even want to peek the truth, because even peeking the truth means you die. You're not there.
Yeah. That's what I think. I think I've come to realize that if I'm suffering or not basically depends on who I am. If I'm barren, but if I'm not me, and if I'm in like, you know, and if the whole universe is my body, then it's different. But like when I'm focused on my ego's personal development, I'm in this, like when you said you give like kind of your authority to a concept, I'm always like, oh, like I'm like I can doubt my egoic self. Will I become who I want to be? But then I'm like, I've said it before to you, kind of. It's like, I think, well, if I'm God, then surely I'll win the lottery eventually, and like I won't have this shit job anymore. And then I like rely on that as an ego for like I call it ego liberation. Like half of my awakenings are like ego liberating and personal, but then half of them are just like metaphysical completely.
It's the thing with thoughts and the concept of self, or the concept of I as a thought construct, is that it's impermanent. And it will always change. The concept you have of yourself now will not be the same concept you have in 10 minutes from now, maybe, or 3 hours from now, or a year from now. You could like hit your foot or get run over by a car, and you're like, for fuck's sake, I'm the worst. Why did I run out in the street? Like, and 10 minutes ago, you were like, I'm fucking amazing. I'm the best. Like, and then you get hit by a car. It's constantly changing because it is impermanent. It's within relativity. And in relativity, everything is changing all the time. Our cells are dying. Like 27 million cells are dying like every hour or something.
Yeah.
Like everything is constantly changing. Nothing stays the same. And it's embracing impermanence that brings you back to the only thing that's not impermanent.
Even just talking to you.
Instagram.
Oh, I don't know if someone's coming out, but even just talking
That's
to you,
my friend. It doesn't matter. Keep going.
but when I was in a kitchen or something, it's like when you were talking to me, I'm realizing, and it almost feels like I've took a psychedelic, where I'm like, oh yeah, you're right, and then it's like I'm slowly going towards liberation. I'm realizing it's like, oh wait, he's actually onto something. It's but the thing is, I think it's been so rare for me, and I've slowly been able to cultivate becoming aware more. Like I used to not know how to increase my awareness, but it's like, again, you can do it a lot with thoughts in a way. Like, for example, I had this, let me tell you this, it's quite interesting. So I had like a 6-gram shroom trip, and it was like, I realized heaven on earth, right? In the present moment, I was just in the garden. And then I took it again, like a week later, like 7 grams. And it was, for about 2 hours, I was like, oh, like I took it in the exact same way. And I thought, oh, maybe I have a tolerance. Like why isn't it heaven on earth this time? Like, what's going on? Like, it's not. And then about 2 hours later, I led down, and I was like, I kept this thing was like, oh, it's, you know, things aren't how they are. Like, why isn't it as good as it was? And then I went, who the fuck is saying that? And then like some other thought come in from a different angle, and then before I know it, I realised that I was just like thinking, and when I dropped the thoughts, heaven on earth was back. And I was like, oh my fucking god, it was just a narrative that things weren't perfect, and that's the only thing that makes it not perfect. Kind of.
But that's exactly the thing. That's the only thing in the way. And that thing is constantly changing, and it's impermanent. So, like you said, you listen to a lot of Alan Watts, for example. What does he say? He says, leave the water alone.
Yeah.
That's it. But people are not willing to do that because they're so identified with that it's them thinking. Just because they can think. You can think as the self. But then there's conditioned thinking and there's habitual thinking that have just taken over as a subconscious programming that's just running habitually all the time. But when you leave the water alone and you learn how to use your mind and not get used by your mind, then I can stand here and I can think like, oh, there's a flag over there. Because it's presence. I'm aware. Oh, I'm aware there's a flag. Oh, there's a flag. What can I do with it? That is using thoughts with presence, with awareness. But as soon as I'm like, oh, what did I do last week? What am I going to do a month from now? Then like, then you're using the mind for things that it's not supposed to be used for.
Yeah, it's like the mind. It's a brilliant servant or some shit, but like a shit master. And it's almost like the mind just drags you through forms, and like you just it's like when you're thinking as well. I swear you don't know that you know. You literally like lose consciousness in a way. You get like you stop looking at the world and you're just like
you're looking inside.
Yeah,
you're turning off your eyes. When you're thinking like a lot and you're thinking about something deeply, then you're not here. You don't hear what people say. You're not seeing, like someone could rob you and you're too stuck in thoughts and they take off your shoe and you don't notice because you close off the senses and you turn into the inner space.
That's what I made a lyric here, and it goes, it's called Truth Till I Die. It says, I'm only sinking when I start thinking, my eyes stop seeing and I stop being. I'm on the brink and near extinction, so I start breathing when I'm deceiving myself. And it's you literally, I stopped seeing the world because I was on a mushroom trip like years ago, and again I was like, maybe it's, and then I just become present, and the whole world literally like came, like it lit up in front of me, and then it just changed from then on. It was so weird.
Like, it's the funniest thing ever, because once you actually get it, you can only laugh at yourself for being so silly or playing with yourself. Because the only thing you ever can be standing in the way is an impermanence concept, a concept of I. And if you leave your mind alone, there is no concept of I. If you leave your mind completely alone, you don't touch it.
That's what, because like when I first started getting into Alan Watson, he was like, I remember it was about a year ago. I would think myself, I'm just me. And like I was convinced about that, and then slowly it breaks down. It's like, well, maybe I'm not me. But that is like right on the metaphysical edge. It's like if you just tell someone, oh, do you know you can shift your identity? It just sounds like the craziest shit ever. That's why the Buddha would be in the mental hospital or some shit, as like Conor Murphy said. It was like, people have no idea, and they don't want to go there because it's so threatening. Because it's literally you die when you like the small cell.
Yeah, that is heaven. It's like heaven is like we remember we're all one big being, and only love is real, and everyone is love.
It's mad. I'm probably gonna go, because I've probably been on it for like an hour and a half, and I do got shit to do. I can't lie. I ain't done like nothing today except breathe, look at my phone.
That's the best thing you can do. Breathe, motherfucker.
Oh yeah, no. What I was gonna say actually is one last thing is because obviously people can hear about this and go, yeah, that's all good, but like if I tried to say any of this to like my dad, they'd go, oh, what the fuck? Never mind. There's a countdown apparently. So apparently I've got 22 seconds
before it ends, and I haven't got a choice. All right, I don't know what that's about. But I was going to say there is inherent suffering, right, in the physical realm. Like every now and then you will get a kick in, but but you don't have to trip over it in your mind or